All right, so nothing. Oh man, I'm burning.
You man, one day. No.
It's like a shtick, but it's not. It's real.
It's real. It
So
just doesn't work.
everybody thinks, oh, that fucking guy does the same thing at the beginning of every show.
Nope.
It's not intentional. It's legit.
You know what? I have to get a new computer, and I'm terrified. You know how hard it was to set this computer
my
up?
computer is
was impossible.
My Mac's
go to
11
the
years
Geek
old.
Squad. Go to the Geek Squad, right? They'll set it up for you. You just got to pay them off.
A child?
Fortune.
No, I'm not going to set up. I'm not going to. No, I just needed to work on Zoom.
I'm afraid of the same thing.
Yeah. I'm terrified. I'm actually terrified because you know what? I have at least 4 years of porn on this, and this is the good stuff. Yeah, the really quality
and by the
stuff.
way, it never leaves the hard drive. You know, so you're gonna have to burn that hard drive.
Oh, this thing will be down. This thing will be like what Captain America down at the bottom of the ocean.
A landfill.
And it will
someone's
not come back to life.
gonna find
So,
it.
okay, Matt.
Yes.
That's just a movie.
What?
That's a movie.
Don't say that.
Cap's not down there.
Don't say that. That's not even funny. Oh, speaking of that, have you guys ever been on a submarine?
Yeah, actually not a real one, but I mean there was one at the Museum of
Still
Science
is.
and Industry
Still
where
is,
it's like that U-boat that they actually
It is,
captured from World War II.
Yeah.
So that's an actual submarine. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but you haven't. I mean, obviously.
Yeah,
I mean,
not.
very few people.
My
have.
grandfather was in World War II. He did two tours in a submarine, which is unheard of.
Really?
During World War II, he was off the coast of Japan. He could. My great uncle, both my grandfathers were in World War II, and my great uncles were all in World War II. So when they got out and they all lived in Indiana, they got together at the Legion Hall and they talked, so they all knew each other. Yeah. My grandfather passed away when I was like 13 or 14, but my great uncle's still alive. He's not going to be 99 this year.
Oh, congratulations!
Holy cow.
He tells, and my other grandfather's 97. He's still alive. Wow. But my great uncle tells me stories about my grandpa that I never knew. He said that he'd never been the same, but he did 2 tours in a submarine without any contact whatsoever because they were so close to the coast of Japan that he used to tell stories what they used to do. They were there for like as long as you could possibly be in a submarine. They had the telescope. Periscope. I'm sorry. Yeah. Mm-hmm. They were so close that they could watch professional Japanese baseball games with the periscope.
Wow.
They used to watch. Listen. I'm not making this up. This is
no. I'm not.
Cool.
I'm not saying you're making it up. I'm just saying that seems unique. I mean, the Earth is round, and there'd be walls. I mean, it just. I'm not saying.
I don't know.
I'm not trying to ruin your childhood. Yeah, I mean, I'm not doing that. So I'm just not doing it. Okay, here's why I brought up the submarines.
I hate you.
Do you guys?
Well, I mean, you did hear the.
This is why I don't share with him.
No, fairness.
Everything he shared with him, he crushes and destroys, and then
you did
and
hear,
it's over.
You
And
did,
then you just feel like
you did hear that story.
you just take a deep breath and you go.
Yeah, I mean, you did hear that story secondhand from your grandpa.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
You're probably accurate.
Yeah, no. You know what? Now that I think about it, no, that'd be the best way to watch a baseball game. So yeah. So no, the reason I ask is, you guys have any idea what the maximum amount of time a submarine, like on average, can spend underwater?
Now it's different than
that's a
than
good question. I'm just going to guess.
It's still kind of similar. It might be longer now, but yeah.
I'm going to take a guess. I have no idea, so I'm going to say, with the food and the fuel, I'm going to say 6 months tops.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Because you got to fuel up.
It's 4 months.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's
it's 4 months.
Yeah.
And now with the nuclear subs, it's not that. There's 2 main reasons that a sub can only stay under. One is the food. You're dead on accurate. And then, so they were talking to a guy, and he said after 4 months, it just turns into an underwater orgy. Yeah. He's like, once you're down there, you're just staying down there. Yeah.
Like Dirty Mike and the Boys.
Well, no, now there's women on submarines, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And didn't David Robinson, like the 7-foot
the
7-foot basketball player,
he went to Navy, but I think
he didn't have to go.
He had his commitment to the Navy, so he couldn't. That's why he didn't enter the NBA draft. But I think he had a deferment or some type of
he was
waiver.
on an aircraft carrier, I think.
No, I think it was a sub. Like they put him on a sub so that they said, he's
way.
7 feet tall, he can't do it. Go play professional basketball.
Yeah. Well, there's a waiver for everything in the military, so just FYI. Because I think it's designed, like the sub is like the cockpit of like, an F-16 is designed for somebody of just a certain height and build.
Not for a guy who's 7 foot tall.
No, I think he can't be more than 5'11", 6 feet. I mean, you can't weigh more than 100. It's like a jockey. You're not going to have a guy who's a 300-pound sumo wrestler as a jockey in the Kentucky Derby.
That would be, that would be a whole different. You know what? I mean, the way they're changing up, Savannah Bananas are changing up baseball, and Live Tour is changing up golf. Yeah. What if they just changed up horse racing? Wouldn't it be way more fun?
Or
you have a combination of small horses and big guys.
Or sumo wrestling.
So that is, you realize how big that is. I would love to talk to a sumo wrestling person. That is like the most prominent sport, I believe, in Japan. Like that is like they're revered.
You train for that. I mean, people go over there. Actually, there's Americans. There are American sumo wrestlers who specifically go to Japan and they train for months or years, and they're whatever the dojo they're in. I mean, it's like in a very exclusive.
Oh yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
There was one or two former NFL players that went over there and became professional sumo wrestlers.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that, but yeah, I believe it.
Yeah, I like rice.
Yeah.
I just don't want to be that heavy.
Yeah.
And I don't want my junk all over the place. I just
I don't know if there's weight classes, but I mean, I've seen guys who are like smaller. They don't necessarily have to be like 400 pounds, but obviously the bigger you are,
the more strong. Yeah, legs, all legs.
Yeah. I have no legs. Yeah, chicken, I believe, is the best way to describe my legs. Yeah,
I wasn't going to say anything.
I doubt there's any 6 foot, 190 pound sumo wrestlers. Yeah, plus sweaty guys. I guess it could be my thing, but no. All right, so this is pretty cool. And I thought this was the most helpful thing ever. And I don't know if you guys heard this, but there's a woman, and I don't know where she's from. She put her boyfriend on a PIP. You guys know what that is?
Personal performance plan or something like that?
Personal improvement plan.
Oh, yeah. Like at work.
Yeah. So she was on social media, and she was telling everybody that she did this. And you know what? I just think it's the greatest thing ever. Now, the reason she did this, she put him on his his personal improvement plan, is because they love each other a lot, and he needs to do a better job of being her boyfriend.
Wait, say that again. She put her.
She put him on a
performance.
personal improvement plan.
Yeah, like at work. Like if you're
So
slacking
she's
at work.
I know,
yeah,
but she structured it for him, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Usually it's done by like an outside person, like a therapist or a professional,
Well,
right?
she knows what his failings are,
wants,
so she's way better able to.
What is the word?
I'm right and you're wrong, and then if you do this, we'll all get along.
Yeah,
that's like so self-fulfilling, right?
No,
I'm going to make
it's-
my life perfect by changing you.
Well, no, just by making him better. No, it was really cool.
Better
she
at
said,
what?
No, she said they go over it weekly, right? The two of them, they go over it weekly to see if he's doing what she wants him to do.
And is this after she takes the zip ties off and the ball gag out of his mouth? Since I'm
No,
assuming
I mean
he's
that
being
would
held
be a
against his
terrible.
will.
No, that would be a terrible thing. No,
he's doing this knowingly and voluntarily.
Yeah, he's into this. He wants to be better for her. She says it's working great, right? And this is really cool. I mean, this is how they're working together. She says the nice thing about it is when she thinks of new things she wants him to do, she just adds it to the list.
There's more things. So she's moving the goalposts. So there's goalposts, and then the goalposts
she wants
are
him
moved.
to be Ted.
This is about Matt.
No.
This is about him.
No,
you
listen
know,
to
like
me.
when you say, "I got a friend that needs to buy this dildo."
I
have a friend. Yes, I have a friend that
I'm buying this case. I'm buying this case of vibrators for a friend's butt.
He's
not mine.
He's putting us on a personal.
Yes.
No, I'm telling you, man. She says she loves doing this. Each time she comes up with
I
something,
bet she does, yeah.
she loves putting it on the list.
Yeah.
And now
we
listen,
can't help you, Matt.
Yeah, she said she also needs to change. So it's not just him. She needs to change. You ready? She needs to become more accepting of his flaws until he fixes them.
And obviously, there's a lot of them.
Yeah. No, this is Ted. How is this not?
Was there a specific example about what this guy is doing? I mean, is he leaving the cap off the toothpaste, the toilet seats up? Does he snore?
Check, and check. Yeah, I mean, just Ted. If he's on a personal improvement plan,
yes.
yeah, at some point he was just doing it wrong, and all she's doing is making sure that he's doing it right. And listen, she said it helped a lot because neither one of them liked it when she was constantly reminding him over and over again what he needed to do.
Nice.
This is one of those stories that doesn't end well, and you think, why the fuck would that guy do that?
Because he's in love. Because he's in love and he knows. I mean, don't you guys have? Do you guys have? Teddy? What's your biggest?
Why did that guy jump off the bridge? And
because
then we find
he
out
had
the
a personal
backstory.
improvement
Yeah, we
plan?
find out this backstory.
So Teddy, what's your biggest flaw? If you had to really say to yourself, what's your biggest flaw?
He can't remember.
My biggest flaw is putting up with the flaws of others and pretending that I
I'm
agree with
seriously
those
asking
flaws.
you this, Teddy.
I'm
every week,
empathetic
once a week.
with your
Yeah,
flaws.
once a
I
week, Teddy.
empathize with you.
Yeah, I know your flaws because I get them on social media. Ted. People tell me.
I feel your pain.
Do you know what's coming up next week? Matt's put a PIP together for you.
I bet.
Yeah.
We should do that. We should put PIPs together for each
Actually,
other.
Max got a
I
P-
like that idea.
Okay,
Matt's
I'm
got a
fine with that.
PI.
Well, we
MP.
also have to write children's books. We also have children's books we have to write. Remember, we were talking about that. We got to get that. Excuse me, we got to get that into
wait,
the thing.
I'm
But
gonna
Mark, if you were
Matt's
doing
got
this,
a pimp for
yeah,
you.
write it down. Yeah, write it down because I'm going to forget.
Personal improvement
So,
plan.
so Mark, if you had to pick your biggest flaw, seriously, what would be your biggest flaw? Thing you suck at this.
It changes as you get older, right? It constantly changes.
Okay.
So
what
I
is
mean,
it-
what my
is it
flaw
now?
used to be, I'd have to think.
Too sexy.
No,
Too giving in bed. Well, what's
I
your,
am a
what's your-
giver.
Yeah.
I am a giver.
Just be a receiver for once. It's okay.
No, but
Oh,
what do you-
I'll tell you what my biggest flaw is, and it's not really a flaw. It's a, it's just,
It's
it's not a flaw
It's
because
a bump in the,
no,
it's a
no.
bump in the road.
Is this that bullshit where somebody says, "Oh, what's your biggest flaw?" I work too. When you're in a job interview, I work too hard.
No, this is more of like how can I never say no. I say yes. I always say yes. If somebody asks,
Oh, yeah.
yes, I always volunteer. Somebody needs this, and I mention something, and then I'm like, oh, I'll do it. I'll take it on. You know, whether it's volunteering at
So you like
schools
overschedule.
or
So you maybe overschedule sometimes.
well, I get involved in these things
Yeah.
with the best intentions, and I'm like, I'm really going to help out, and then I end up it takes up so much of my time,
Yeah.
and then I'm miserable because I got work, I got this,
Yeah.
and my wife will say, "Why did you volunteer for that?" I'm
Did you
like,
ever back out of
because
some-
they needed
did
it.
you
She's
ever
like,
ba-
"Yeah, but there's other 10 other
Did
people."
you
that
ever
could
back
have
out
done
of
it.
something? I mean, like
No,
sometimes we.
no,
He's
sometimes
not a
I
back
don't,
router. I can
no.
tell you right
I
now.
don't, no.
Yeah.
We
You can tell just by
overpromise.
no. You can tell just by listening to him. He's not a back router.
That's a problem too. Sometimes you just got to walk away from something.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's hard. No, but it's hard. If you're in a room with 10 people, it's like, who'd like to do this? And everybody's just like, yeah, I ain't doing this. I mean, it's got to get done, so somebody's got to do it. You almost don't have a choice sometimes. Yeah. I mean,
Well, there's volunteer, then then there's voluntold.
Oh, I knew you.
Yeah.
I knew you were going
know what's
there.
coming.
I absolutely knew you were going there. Okay. All right. We got to get to tips because we got our guest in just a little bit, and I want to make sure that we get them in on time. Mark, I forgot to ask. I love the fact that. Do you have a song?
I kind of do. I don't have it with me.
You don't have a song. Okay, so you're just gonna remember it?
No.
Elton John does that. He remembers songs. Yeah. He can just play any of his hits. If you just say Elton John,
He
play,
can't. I don't
He's a
think he can.
savant.
I don't know.
Can he?
Diamond Girl. I don't know. What's that
he?
Elton John song? What's that?
Rocket,
Candle in
Rocket
the Wind.
Man. Oh, someone made fun of him. I think it was Keith Richards make fun of him for Candle in the Wind because he basically made a career of singing about dead the prince about. I think it's by Princess Diana or something.
Was that song actually about
Yeah,
her?
I think
or
it
did
was.
They just
No.
So I
The remake. They remade it.
Yeah, like Candle in the Wind. And it was
So
like,
now instead of Candle in the Wind, it's a Diana in the
No.
Tub.
So he was kinda-
They
it was
redid
kinda-
that song
it
after
was
she
kind of like
passed.
it was kind of like mocking her, mocking him for like basically taking advantage of her.
But isn't he
untimely
English?
demise.
No, that song
Yeah.
came out way before she passed away. They redid it after that.
as a homage.
they had
to
another
her.
version,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, all that shit's coming back up, right? The coronation and the king. They just can't let it go, man.
Oh, you know what the funny thing is? So I'm reading now that all these big time music stars are turning down performing at Prince or King Charles' coronation. I don't know. Of course, the laundry list of the usual suspects.
You know
who
what? I
perform at
think
the
some
Super
of that
Bowl
is
and for the president.
Yeah, but I think some of that is just he asked. I know he asked like Ed Sheeran or
Ed Sheeran,
Ed Sheeran, yeah.
yeah.
And Ed Sheeran's like, I literally have a concert that day,
Yeah.
so I just can't do it.
Well,
man.
I want to go on record. I will volunteer to perform at King Charles'
Oh my
coronation.
God.
We should all be invited, and we
be
should
invited
MC,
to
we
do
should MC it.
a live show.
A live show.
Oh my God!
where?
King Charles,
where?
King,
The
King
coronation.
Charles, the
Yeah.
King Charles
We
coronation.
Is
go
it
to-
at the Howard Street?
We go to London.
No, they fly
England.
us. They fly us out
Yeah.
there to Buckingham Palace.
I'll pay.
I think Kenny's got a place out there.
At their expense.
Dude, listen. If they let me,
We will stay in the second solarium with the other servants.
Ted. If they let,
We'd have to change our name to the Royal Three Idiots.
Oh, no, you know what? No one would have a problem with that, but I would do that in a heartbeat. That'd be awesome. All right, let's get this thing started because I can't wait to talk to our guest. I'm so freaking pumped, okay? Hey, everybody. My name is Matt, and this is the Real Three Idiots podcast. With me, as always, is the worst dressed person I know, and I am good friends with two homeless people, Ted.
Happy Monday to you too, Sunshine.
Ted, you are the worst dressed person I've ever met.
But
There's no one who actually knows you that would there's no one else in their lives.
But I am dressed, nonetheless.
Yeah, Teddy walked in. He's got a new long sleeve shirt on.
Dude, that's
it's
sharp.
It's a different one than the same one he's worn for the last 3 months. And I go, hey man, what
comfy.
happened?
It's comfy.
What happened to your green thing?
The green
he goes, you ready? He goes, I spilled a euro on it. And I'm thinking,
Euro.
yeah, euro. You know,
No, I spilled euro. I spilled
Oh,
euro on
euro.
this. I spilled euro on this. The
You
other
spilled
one,
euro on
That's
that?
such
yeah,
a-
that's why I have to wash it.
Why?
then
Because he's Greek, he spilled euro on it?
No, he told me that.
yeah, I spilled euro on this actually at lunch, and I have to wash it. But I mean, yeah, I have different stuff to wear.
Do you eat euros every day?
No, I mean it just seems that way. Yeah. So. Well, Mark, you want me to get this out of the way? How do we separate the men from the boys in Greece with a crowbar? Okay, we all laughed our heads off. Let's all get it out of
Ted,
the way.
we're not doing that. Those are
Okay,
not.
gotcha.
Those aren't funny, Ted. Those are hurtful. Yeah, to the crowbar. All right, and a man just returning from Bigfoot country, Mark.
Hail Satan.
I don't think Bigfoot has anything to do with that, but who knows?
Our guests do.
All right.
That was a bad trip, by the
so-
way. Thank you, Matt.
You decided to go.
Yeah, I'm never doing that again.
Yeah. It wasn't a big foot that you had to worry
talk about later.
Okay. All right. So I have our sponsor, and Mark has a song that he just made up in his head right now. So let's get this going. If you're like me, you probably send your kid to summer camp every year, and they learn the same old stuff: basket weaving, kayaking, animal husbandry. This year, send your child to camp where they can learn real-world skills that'll help them tame the evil world we live in. This year, send your child to Conspiracy Camp. At Conspiracy Camp, your child will learn how to sort through real and fake news. They'll learn how to properly storm a government building, uncover election fraud, and live in the past. Don't let your child go through life not knowing the difference between reality and a ridiculous, outlandish story started by someone who didn't get their way or someone who let George Santos help them write their resume. This summer, send your child to Conspiracy Camp and let their little imaginations run amok. Yeah, there we go.
Nice.
Okay. All right, Mark.
All right, I'm going to try this.
Okay,
All right.
I'll be your backup singer.
All right.
All right, go ahead.
Ted's not too tall, no need for new pounds. Tight sweatpants, bulging all around. She was a red-haired beauty with big, strong thighs and tips of her own, getting way too high. Way up baked and high. Out past the Howard Street, where his thoughts get heavy. Out in the back seat of his 16 Chevy. Waking up early without any bits. He's working on his Ted's tips. Trying to make some front-end podcast clips. Working on his Ted tips. Yeah.
That's pretty good. I want
Tips.
to see you at a karaoke bar one of these days.
Dude, that
'Cause I know
is
deep down you just want to sing that song, don't you?
deep down.
Deep down, yeah.
Deep down. Wow, that is really good for
That was
just
good,
throwing
yeah.
that
I
together.
got another verse too, but it goes on.
You
All right, let's go.
You know what? Too much of a good
See,
thing.
you guys didn't mean it.
Okay.
That was my test.
So Ted's tip for this week comes from Raina from Wisconsin, and she says her boyfriend moved in 3 months ago, in with her. He is the best boyfriend ever. Then she follows it up with this, except he's a fucking slob. What should she do?
Those are her words?
Those are her words, dude. Her
Well,
words.
I mean, other than being super passive aggressive there, because you go from one end of the spectrum to the other.
Right?
I don't know. It seemed like she has this guy who's really great, except for the fact that now that she's living with him, he is literally, and her word, a fucking slob. So that's kind of tough.
Well, we'll see. Okay, so I guess the tips, I don't have a lot of information to work with, so it's obviously everything's very vague. So, okay, Raina from Wisconsin, her boyfriend moved in. We don't know where he's from. Let's assume. I mean, it doesn't matter, of course. He's the best boyfriend ever, whatever that means. But except he's a fucking slob, which we can deduce what possibly that means. So Raina, I guess, without having a lot of information to go off of, what I could tell you is if you're now she could have used the term messy,
Right.
slovenly,
Yeah.
lazy, but she went nuclear. She said fucking slob. She went all.
That's,
I mean,
that
that's
was,
like the
see,
word.
that's
yeah.
why I picked this one
Yeah.
because that's pretty intense.
Yeah, I mean that's nuclear, right? I mean that's like that. That's from point A to point Z. So Raina, without knowing anything, I don't mean to be a Debbie Downer, but let me tell you, if you're calling him a fucking slob after 3 months, just imagine what you're going to be calling him after 10 years of marriage.
Honey,
Yeah.
ex-husband.
If you could find him under
My
the stack
ex.
of newspapers in the living room, of course, because it sounds like he might be a hoarder in the making. So, yeah. What I want to say is that usually, if anybody who's got certain habits, let's assume he's in his 20s, and he's a effing slob right now, it's not going to get better. So, if you don't mind, so whatever he does for you that wets your whistle, that whatever 80% he has, and this obviously 20% is bad. If you can put up with it, if you want to be his mate for the next 10, 15, 20 years, when you got some little ones running around, because if you think he's making a mess, just wait until your kids are running around, and since it's going to be his DNA, they might be making a mess too. So you'll be cleaning up after God knows how many people. So good luck to you, Molly Maid.
So what should she do?
But Ted, you're saying dump him?
The tip is,
You're saying dump him.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying
you're implying
watch him very carefully. And maybe give him some tests.
Watching you. Hey, I'm watching you.
So when you say he's a effing slob, that could mean a lot of things. Does he not do the dishes? Does he not do the laundry? Or does he not do anything? Does he sit in his Xbox all day and playing Halo?
Hold on. My boyfriend's the best boyfriend ever. He doesn't do the dishes. How can I get him to do dishes? That's one thing.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah. Because fucking slob implies that he doesn't bathe, he doesn't shower, he doesn't brush his teeth, he doesn't wipe his ass. I mean, that could be anything.
I didn't even go.
That could be
I was
anything.
just thinking about housekeeping.
So was
wise.
I.
Like
I didn't
clothes
even-
everywhere.
Yeah.
Wow, what if he's? Oh man, what if he's gross? That is one thing that bugs the shit out of me.
He's got food in his
Stinky
teeth.
people,
Yes.
like people are just they don't wear clean clothes. They just smell bad. That really
He's got pizza boxes everywhere.
Guys who wear the same shirts every day.
I hate those guys.
Yeah. Wow, I didn't even. Wow, Teddy, you went to a dark place, man. I just figured like he didn't put stuff away.
Oh,
But
he's not putting stuff away.
did you guys? Teddy, did you ever have a roommate?
I did have a roommate temporarily a while back, and he was it was just average. He wasn't like, we were probably on the same level. We weren't like OCD, but we weren't like super compulsively neat. But we respected each other's space, and I always cleaned up after myself. I'll put it to you that way. But I don't have a recollection of being so, taken aback or uncomfortable with what that other individual was doing. So so it's not like I'm waking up and tripping over, like liquor bottles or something, or stuff that's been on the floor, cat vomit that hasn't been cleaned up for like
vomit.
2 months.
Mark, what about you? You ever have a roommate?
No, I lived by myself.
Really?
Yeah. When I moved out of my house, I was like 20. I got my own place.
Yeah. And then next person, the only person
The
you've ever
next-
lived
my
with is your wife.
Yeah.
Yeah, and pretty neat. I mean, no
Yeah,
issues.
I actually my place was really neat. My place was really clean and neat until I met her, and I started spending more time at her place. So I stopped like cleaning up my place,
Okay, well, that
and then
makes sense,
the dishes stacked up so
Yeah.
much. I said, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna move in with you.
Yeah, well, you were distracted. You were distracted. You were
So
distracted.
rather than doing a
Yes.
deep clean, I decided just to move.
you were distracted. That's
My brother and his girlfriend took my lease over.
that is
I left everything.
you just.
I left my furniture,
There
everything.
you go.
Oh my
What
god!
about you?
dude? I love that.
You ever have a roommate who might have been a little bit on the slovenly side, perhaps?
So I will be honest with you. I was the messy guy.
Oh, you were the-
yeah,
you were?
with the
I
one.
wouldn't have guessed that.
So I moved in with these guys like second semester. I stayed in college a little bit longer. Oh, cool. Our guest is here. But I stayed in college a little bit longer, and I'm not going to lie to you. I got a little reckless, and I really was just there, kind of extending it out and kind of partying and everything. And I was the sloppy guy, and
Okay.
I actually had my 3 roommates were like, Matt, it's time to do some dishes. Any dishes. I don't give a shit whose dishes you do. Just do somebody's dishes at some point right now, please.
yeah, well,
just threw them all away.
But that sounds pretty harmless compared
I just
to this,
moved.
to this
I did the
guy.
mark.
That's a good move, man.
So, but Raina's stuck with this guy for God knows how long. So because you were going to leave, and you're with some guy, so it doesn't really count.
he's only moved in. They're just boyfriend and girlfriend.
Yeah.
I mean, if
Well,
she
after the show,
if
she
we
may be
get-
leaving him.
Dude, if we get a note back from her, she's just like, "Yeah, I went with Ted and dumped him."
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
gonna
just
feel.
gonna-
I'm gonna feel bad. I mean, not for really.
Okay,
but
well, I'm just
gonna
saying,
pretend.
I'm just saying, if she's calling him a fucking slob after 3 months, you know what she's gonna be calling him after 3 years.
Yeah,
assuming
that's
he
true.
lasts that
No,
long.
that's true. That was pretty intense when she did that. Okay, all right.
I'm
So
just
let me.
glad he didn't bring up anything about a sperm bank.
Oh, yeah, that reminds me.
Yeah, none of that stuff. None of that stuff today. Okay. Hello, sir. How are you doing
Hi.
today?
Welcome.
Living the dream. How are you?
Oh
Doing well.
man,
Thanks
you
for
know
coming
it.
on.
That's the beauty of it. Okay, so let me go ahead and do this so that everybody has what they're supposed to have, because I want to make sure everybody knows who you are, because this is I've been so stoked.
He has.
I've been so stoked
He has.
because this is it's mind blowing to me. So I think this is gonna blow everybody's mind. Okay, so our guests this week are, and I'm gonna butcher your names. Don't get mad. Dex Desjardins and Chalice Blythe from the Satanic Temple. Is that did I really butcher it up pretty bad?
Actually,
you
no.
did
That
mine
was
great, actually.
yeah, and pretty darn close on mine. It was Desjardins.
Okay.
Oh man, you know what? I'm a good talkist. I really am. I'm pretty good. Okay, guys, welcome to the show.
Welcome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're
welcome.
so pumped to have you on. Now, the first thing I want to say is you guys have the best Satanic Temple names ever. Dex and Chalice are the coolest names I have ever heard in my life. I mean, if I was part of your thing, I mean, I feel like if the three of us were part of it, like Matt, Ted, and Mark just sound pretty lame.
Yeah.
They really sound lame.
Yeah.
They really do.
My name sounds pretty lame now compared to Dex and Chalice.
Yeah,
We
your
would-
your names are terrible. Okay, let's do this. Before everybody listening starts thinking that we're going to talk about drinking blood or sacrificing babies or joining the Republican Party. Oh God, this is terrible. Why don't you guys do just give us a quick rundown? Because when people hear Satanic Temple, they probably think something really out there, and it is exactly the opposite. So what is your deal? Tell everybody that.
Well, should we start with what Satanism is, or the
Sure.
Satanic Temple?
However you want to do it, so that people kind of understand what it is. Because I know right away when I first heard it, I was thinking. I'll be honest with you. I was thinking negative until I read about it. It seemed like something that was really out there and kind of negative, and it's not like that at all. So
Not at all.
So if you were going to tell somebody, if somebody came up to you on the street and was just like, "Hey man, what is this all about?" What would you tell them?
Well, for Satanism, I would say that we are a non-theistic religion that is focused around the literary character of Satan, as kind of depicted in Romantic era literature, as our central metaphor around which our collective ethos is built. And the Satanic Temple basically is one of the latest manifestations of that non-theistic religion.
Oh man, that sounds really cool. But okay, I like the concept of that. So so when I hear that, I'm just like, yeah, I don't get it. If people were to ask you, like, what do you guys believe in?
Like what's your mission statement?
Yeah.
What's your mission statement?
Like, what do you guys do? Because we know, everybody knows about how Catholicism works, and it's kind of weird and exclusionary, and they have a couple of things that you really can't do and still be a good Catholic, which seems really weird at this point in 2023. But we know that the other different religions, things you can and can't do. What are you guys about? What's your mission statement? I like that.
Well, our actual mission statement reads: the mission of the Satanic Temple is to encourage benevolence and empathy, reject tyrannical authority, advocate practical common sense, oppose justice, and undertake noble pursuits. We're the central ethos of Satanism as we practice it. And there's different types of Satanism, and depending on how much you want to get into that, we can. The central ethos of our beliefs is the 7 tenets.
Okay.
See, and now that's interesting to me. And I told Matt this before the show. I said, if you guys can just, and I know you could read the 7 tenets in like less than a minute. If you can go 1 through, right? I mean, they're not very long. They're very, I mean, they're well written, right to the point. You can understand each one as it's written, and it goes right down the list, and it explains everything that you guys stand for and where you're going to go with some of the issues that you take up, right? Some of the protests, some of the things that you guys decide to speak up against. Can you go over those with us real quick?
Sure. So we can kind of go over the we can go over what the tenets are, maybe not word for word, and just kind of give an overview of the, what the tenet is and how they relate to the things that we currently do. So we have 7 tenets, and you can find them on our website, satanictemple.com. One should strive with compassion and empathy towards all creatures in accordance with reason. The struggle for justice is an ongoing and necessary pursuit that should prevail over laws and institutions. One's body is inviolable, subject to one's own will alone. The freedoms of others should be respected, including the freedom to offend, to willfully and unjustly encroach upon the freedoms of another's, to forego one's own. Belief should conform to one's best scientific understanding of the world. One should take care to never distort scientific facts to fit one's beliefs. People are fallible. If one makes a mistake, one should do one's best to rectify it and resolve any harm that might have been caused. And the one that ties it all together is every tenet is a guiding principle designed to inspire nobility in action and thought. The spirit of compassion, wisdom, and justice should always prevail over the written or spoken word. So those are the 7 tenets, and those tie into our interpretation, or how we contextualize, Satanism, and what Satanism means to us. And every tenet can be used as a way, can be seen as a motivating factor or the foundation of what we do actively. So when it comes to things like, religious reproductive rights, that speaks to quite a few of our tenets, specifically the inviolability of one's body, basing our beliefs on the best scientific evidence available, and also the necessary pursuit of justice, prevailing over the laws and institutions. So you have those tenets that speak to the foundations of why we pursue religious reproductive rights, or
and you guys have challenged some of that in states, right? Specifically, like recently in Texas.
Yeah, we do have a couple lawsuits when it comes to religious reproductive rights, specifically how the outlying of abortion access inhibits us from our free exercise of religion under RFRA laws. Specifically our inability to perform our religious abortion ritual. So that's those are the cases. So I do believe we have some in Texas, Idaho, and we also have had other cases in other states that deal with unnecessary, burdensome, unscientific ways in which the states have tried to make accessibility towards abortion services a lot more difficult. So whether that's subjecting somebody to unnecessary ultrasounds, subjecting them to state mandated, religious propaganda, waiting periods, things like that. These are all things that have absolutely no basis in medical need or the safety of a patient who is, in need of an abortion. And these are all.
So you're talking about Florida then? You're literally saying the word Florida, because they. Yeah.
I mean, most of the United States at this point, and it's only getting worse.
All right, so you guys and we'll get back to some other stuff, but you guys did the most awesome thing that I have ever heard of in my entire life. You guys created an online abortion clinic in New Mexico, correct? Okay.
DST Health. Yeah.
Okay, and what exactly did you name that online abortion clinic? Because every time I say it, I can't get through it without laughing. What was the name of that online abortion clinic?
Sam Alito's mom's abortion clinic.
Okay, and let me get this straight. The reason you did it was because in 1950, when Samuel Alito was born, his mother didn't have the right to get an abortion, and now look what happened.
And now look where we're at.
That is literally the greatest thing I have ever heard of in my life. I mean, I every time I think about it, I cry a little because it's so funny.
There's more than one instance where you took somebody who's a complete jag and used his mom to anger them and lead by an example, right? You converted. You made somebody's mom. She's dead, and you did something over her grave, and she became a lesbian in the afterlife.
Oh, yeah, the pink mask.
God,
dude, it's hilarious.
Yeah, it's pink mask. Yeah, that was back in the early days, and so the pink mask was a response. It's how we got our start, right?
Yeah, it's called pink mask, right?
Better than our testicles to really make yourself known to the world.
Right.
So,
He did.
huh?
He did, right? He put his testicles on her gravestone.
Yeah. So this was in response to the Westboro Baptist Church coming in and protesting the victims of the Boston Marathon bombing, and we did not take too kindly to them doing that. So there was a pink mass performed over the grave of Fred Phelps's mother. And this pink mass, this ritual was intended to turn her gay in the afterlife. And it's not like we actually believe in an afterlife or that would actually happen. It's just, because of their beliefs,
right.
They were being forced to believe
right.
that she was gay in the afterlife. And so the ritual was performed, and it ended with Lucian Greaves teabagging her gravestone just to seal the deal.
Oh my!
And
God.
just for the record, for those who don't know, the Westboro Baptist Church, from my understanding, I'm going by memory, but they protest at military funerals. They spew. They're very hateful.
Oh,
Yeah.
those are those
and
shitbags.
in fact,
Yeah,
people,
virulently
people,
anti-LGBTQ.
yeah, and
Yep,
people
yep,
have to get
yep.
restraining orders to keep them at least 500 feet or 1,000 feet away, so because they're mocking and they're jeering, these grieving people. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like they're horrible, people, obviously.
Well,
so.
the best with that was one of the headlines in a newspaper said like, church takes offense to turning leader's mom gay in the afterlife or something like that.
Yeah.
See, and that's got to
Well,
be
it's the least we could do.
Of course.
I love that. Okay, so here's what I know. You guys have to be doing something right because Tucker Carlson thinks you guys are the worst thing since unsliced bread. So here's what I know. Keep doing whatever you're doing because that's perfect. But here's what I
It's
don't
a compliment.
Here's what I don't get. So Catholicism and the Muslim religion, they have those things where they kind of have the the hate and the killing and all that kind of stuff. You guys don't have any of that. Where's your anger? I feel like everything here is so positive and so cool. I just feel like all the big religions have so much exclusionary stuff. Do you guys have some kind of exclusionary stuff? I mean, you got to add it somewhere, right?
I think as far as the lack of violence and stuff like that is we're not fear driven. We don't have an angry God pushing us to do whatever. We're not concerned about hellfire and brimstone. There was a quote by, I can't remember which philosopher off the top of my head, he said that fear is the parent of cruelty, and therefore you should expect cruelty from people who worship a cruel God and whose lives are driven by fear of punishment. So since we don't have that sort of existential terror, I think the anger therefore doesn't flow from that, and I mean we are certainly plenty angry in our own ways at our rights being taken away and at theocrats rampaging over our civil rights. We've seen religious freedom weaponized and turned into the only civil right that matters, but then only for certain people. It's Constitution for me and not for thee. So there's plenty of anger around that. We just try to channel it into constructive ends.
Yeah, well, it sounds like what you're saying, it almost goes to politics, where, there's a lot of virtue signalers out there who, they talk a good game, but they don't practice what they preach. It's like the people, I'm not going to go into detail, but the people who lecture you about global warming, but they're flying around in their private jet, burning up fuel, living in their, waterfront mansion, and yet, they want you to, tighten your belt, to, conform with something that they have no desire to do themselves. So that's an interesting concept there.
Well, one of the things too is I saw I don't remember where I saw it's on your website, but I saw it somewhere else as well when I was doing some research for you guys. So I don't know what state it is in, but they have a huge billboard.
I saw that,
and it says, "Our religion doesn't believe in hidden children." It's perfect.
Yeah.
It's the perfect message. It's awesome.
That was in Texas, right?
Is that in Texas?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's we have a campaign, the Protect Children project, which specifically deals with protecting children from corporal punishment in schools. So we have waivers that the kids can sign and hand over to their schools, saying, I'm not consenting. I'm not consenting to be beaten in school. And we've actually had a couple of people reach out and say that the form was given and they were subjected to corporal punishment, and so that's being taken care of in the background. But yeah, it's violation of our religious beliefs, especially with bodily autonomy. Do not violate my autonomy and violate my body by beating me.
See, I love that. I love that positivity, right? Because because here's the thing, and we talk about this all the time. All these people that can't handle people, with different genders and people who want to change their lives or be a certain way, and we always keep saying to this, why? Why do you care what somebody else is going to do? Let them live their life. You live your life. You know what I've never heard. It's just so bizarre to me, and I just thought of this just now. I've never heard of a group of people, like gay people, beating up a straight person. I've never heard anybody get. And they should be pissed off, right? People get shit on all the time. I've never heard that. There's never been any of that. So I love the fact that you guys are just like, hey man, be who you want to be. And be positive about it. It's such a great message. I love that message.
Yeah,
I know.
As Thomas Jefferson said, if it neither picks my pocket nor breaks my, or let me try that again. Neither breaks my bones nor picks my pocket, why should I care? I'm paraphrasing.
Yep.
Yeah.
But live and let live for sure. And I think part of why you don't see gay people beating up straight people, they're numerically in power outnumbered. And anytime people historically in the United States have risen up with any sort of aggression against oppressive systems, they've been met with unbelievable violence. Look what happened to the Move in Philadelphia, where they were literally bombed from airplanes, or what the FBI did to the Black Panthers compared to how they treat right-wing militias. Half the time they're the same people as the cops.
Right.
So if you try to act aggressively from a position of being a power minority, you're setting yourself up for far more physical damage than you would be if you did something different.
That's true.
And we're getting that all the time. We had an arson attack at our headquarters. We've had several bomb threats. Wait
a minute, at the temple in Salem, that house?
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was an arsonist last year who got caught, and was very upfront about the reason he did it was because we're Satanists. It was a hate crime. And
I was going to say, was he charged with a hate crime?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, he was charged as such, and he even admitted to it. Yeah.
He actually called it a hate crime in court.
Yeah.
Wait, he.
Yeah. Well, the reason I asked that is because obviously it lends validity to your organization. Because, like, for example, if it wasn't recognized what you practiced, it wouldn't be called a hate crime. Like, say Scientology, for example. Like if someone committed a crime against a Scientologist because they're a Scientologist, but it wasn't called a hate crime because the government doesn't necessarily recognize Scientology as a legitimate religion.
Teddy, because nobody cares about Scientology.
Right, yeah,
it's just not a real.
Tom Cruise does. Tom Cruise does.
All right, so
wait, hang on. I want to say something
about
about the Satanic Temple in Salem. It's really funny, but it's got solar panels on the roof. It's like it's awesome. You see the video. What's the documentary called that came out a few years ago? Hail Satan. Yeah. So they're showing them, painting the house and everything, and then they scan up to the roof, and the Satanic Temple has solar panels. That's great.
Well, Salem, Massachusetts. Yeah, Salem, Massachusetts. If you correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't that where they burn people allegedly who were witches back in the 15th century, and all those horrific things done in the name of quote unquote religion?
They hung them. They didn't burn them.
No, I'm just saying we'll throw you in the water if you float. God will protect you if you say the Lord's Prayer backwards. Making people do these impossible de facto things that no one's capable of doing, especially under extreme torture. So basically, in those days, they're simple peasants. Like one person accuses their neighbor of being a witch, and that just triggers a whole series of events because you just want to get rid of your neighbor. You don't really believe they're a witch.
Wait, hold on. So. Would that work? I actually have. I like most of my neighbors, but there's two neighbors. Okay, so let me ask you this then. So we're saying Satanic Temple, and we're doing all this stuff, and clearly you're not kneeling down before like Satan, like people kneel down before God and praying and stuff. So how does Satan actually work into this? Because it seems like it would be a negative, but really, it ends up being. The message you're saying is very positive, but how does Satan actually work into it?
So in Satanism, we do say, it is a non-theistic religious philosophy, and it is centered around the literary character of Satan, who is perceived. And, if you actually take a look at historically the story of Satan is a Promethean hero. Satan is a hero villain who has done good by not only performing an overreaching or rebellious act, but has represents Enlightenment era values. Satan has been known throughout various cultures as the light bringer, the adversary, bringer of knowledge. So Satan is a literary symbol of rebellion against arbitrary authority, and also emblematic of personal liberation and the pursuit of knowledge. So people take a look at the fact that we are non-theistic and say, well, why not make your lives easier by calling yourself atheist or humanist, despite, because we are atheistic in that way, and we also have humanistic values. Well, we call ourselves Satanists because we couldn't call ourselves anything else. Atheism is what you're not. Satanism has a history of, not only this iconic symbol that represents, how we identify, but it has an entire culture. It has symbolism. It has, ritual. It has community. It has all of these things that are very specific to a community and a religious ideology centered around Satan. So, we could not call ourselves anything else, and it doesn't really matter that our lives would be made easier if we weren't constantly dealing with the fear, the perpetual fear and misunderstanding of Satan. To call ourselves anything else would be an absolute violation of our own beliefs and would actually be a disservice to our values and our entire identity. So it speaks to so much more than just just a name to be, we don't call ourselves that to be edgy or to get attention. I mean, it's a positive, affirmative identity and symbol that we use.
I think
I like to put it this way. Most of the misconceptions around us come from the idea that we're an activist group and we decided to pick the name Satan because it's, edgy or divisive or whatnot, shock value. But it's the other way around. We're a religious community. And the activism, which I would say is less than 10% of the overall activities of the Satanic Temple, is an extension of our religious values, not the other way around. And once people understand that, they either like us a lot more or they dislike us a lot more.
Oh, they hate us a lot more.
Yeah. Well, Jesper Peterson said something on the documentary I thought was interesting. And I just want to see what you guys think of this. He said that the Satanic Temple is, and I'm kind of paraphrase here, but he said it's like a new tool or a new weapon to take into the ongoing culture wars.
Well, so the things that we do that are in line with our values could be seen as such. I mean, anything that we do is an expression of our religious faith. Everything that we do, we can point to, how those things are deeply rooted in our religious philosophy and our tenets.
Which is the tenets, and it's not like you don't worship Satan. You're talking about the tenets and what you guys are all about. I just want to make that clear because a lot of people think, oh, they're just Satan worshipers. That's not true. It's all based on the seven tenets.
Yeah, and for the most part, if you look at the history of Satanism, most Satanists, whether you're talking about the Church of Satan, Satanists, or others, they don't worship a literal Satan. Theistic Satanists are actually a very small group of people, and they actually call themselves Luciferians. So non-theistic Satanism has been around since the 60s, and but when it comes to what we do in the world, whether that is creating abortion clinics or, statues or anything like that, it's twofold. It's active expression of our religious faith and how we interact with the world that is, and also protecting our rights as a religious community and frankly a religious minority.
But not just yours, everybody's. The rights that you're protecting belong to everybody.
Yeah, they do. I mean, supposedly in this country, religious rights mean more to our lawmakers than any other rights we have. So we have to fight to protect those too.
Yeah, no, I mean, what when you hear what George Bush, little George, when he said, God told him to run, and you hear Ron DeSantis, and you hear Ron DeSantis say that his God is telling him that anyone who goes to a drag show is going to hell. Yeah, you start to think, that sounds kind of crazy.
Well, I wouldn't trust any political leader who invokes, because I think George Bush said before the Gulf War, one of the words he goes, oh, God told us to go into this war. Obviously, he's insane, of course, because, so I'll tell you what, if you believe that, send your kids there. Not my kids, since you believe it so much.
Okay, so this is a big one. This is really cool. So you guys have something really huge coming up. You guys have Satan Con 10 coming up in Boston, April 28th to the 30th. And just so everybody, we all know Comic-Con and all these other things. What is Satan Con? Because this sounds awesome.
So this year's Satan Con is our second annual big con. Our very first one was back in 2022 in Scottsdale, Arizona. So this is year 2. It's going to be our 10-year anniversary. It's going to be the Satanic Temple's 10-year anniversary.
Oh, okay.
And so, it's a big conference we put together for, our members, our community, those who are interested in learning more about us. 3 days of various programming. We usually have a big after hours an event. So on that Saturday, we have Satanic Planet performing after our second day of conference presentations. And the presentations, the content of the conference like just really varies all over the place, but at the heart of it is those within Satanism and the various ways in which our lives are impacted, or how we express it, or things like that. So it's all over the place, but it's really fun, and everyone, it's a really great way for the entire community to meet in one place, and just have a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun at these.
So when you guys, a lot of these conventions have often, like Comic-Con, and they have very, very famous people show up sometimes, right?
Keynote speakers, perhaps, yeah.
Do you guys have any, is there any celebrities or anybody really famous that's a member of your church that you know of, or can you mention them, or will they be there? You're smirking. There's somebody right? There's somebody famous.
There's
you should
Satan.
You should come out and find out.
Oh,
well,
boy. I would love to. We should.
Yeah, here's my question. So how many people do you anticipate showing up to this SatanCon 10 event? Like, and how many people showed up in Scottsdale, for example? Is like hundreds, thousands?
In Scottsdale, we had, I want to say, over, I don't know, like 300 people or something show up. And then this year we're all sold out, and that's 600 tickets. But the after party, or the show we have on that Saturday is still wide open for people that want to come to that. And so you're going to run into a lot of Satanists, and Satanic Planet has that's Lucian Greaves' band. So, and it's going to be their second live show ever. So that'll be pretty fun.
Their drummer's the guy from Slayer, and they're one of their singers, Justin Pearson.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Oh,
Lombardo.
Man. Okay, so clearly Scottsdale and this SatanCon is in Boston. Okay, these are pretty Catholic kind of towns. Is this something you targeted? Did you pick these towns because of kind of the pushback that you would get,
or just by
or just to kind of
coincidence?
open people's minds up?
No, I mean, so Scottsdale was chosen initially because we had I don't know if you all heard or know about it, but this relates to a lot of the invocation things that we try to do in front of city council meetings. They usually have opening prayers or invocations prior to that. So when the Satanic Temple tried to give an invocation before the Scottsdale City Council, we were denied, filed lawsuit. And one of the complaints lodged against us, as far as the reasoning behind telling us no, was that we had no community ties. So we thought it would be really great to demonstrate to the city of Scottsdale that, we do actually have a lot of community ties here, and we're only going to try and build more. And it was a great, wonderful experience. A lot of local people from the area showed up, as well as Satanists from around the world. And so I think we definitely accomplished our mission of showing the city of Scottsdale that we do in fact have community ties. If not before, then we certainly do now. So maybe in the future, when they hear back from us,
what's their new excuse? What's their new excuse going to be exactly? So actually, I just wanted to mention something real quick. I noticed how you use the term Satan, but you never use the term the devil, because the lay person on the street, if you said Satan, their next thought is like the devil, because we've all been conditioned to watch movies where Satan, like you said, he's a literary figure throughout history. His role changes depending on the story he's in. He's sometimes he's a benevolent figure, sometimes he's a malevolent figure.
Violin player.
Yeah, but like I said, it's interesting that you don't use the term the devil, because obviously he's not. So do you ever use that term at all in your teachings at all? Okay, gotcha.
No.
Then
so one of the things we like to point out is that no one tradition has a monopoly on the name of Satan.
Sure.
So, like, I come from a Jewish background. I'm not former Christian. And for us, Satan was a improper noun just describing an adversary. And it could literally be an angel of God that's trying to, tempt people into sin, or it could be someone who's opposing God that, is still in God's corner ultimately, or it could be a person. So, not every Satan around the world or through history is the devil. In fact, you could say that the Christian devil was a fairly modern construction. I mean, for most of early Christian history especially, they did not equate the serpent in the garden with Satan. They did not equate Lucifer with Satan. All these things didn't come together until the late Middle Ages and weren't really solidified in Christian theology until the 20th century. So, yeah.
Interesting.
Well, and I'm gonna say something that Jesper Peterson said again, because it's right on that. It's so perfect for what you're timing right now. He said to say that Satanism is anti-Christian is kind of like a half truth. They are some are post-Christians that just took Satan with them, right? So I mean,
we're not anti.
You're not anti-Christian. Yeah. No, not at all. Yeah.
No, I mean, you guys aren't anti anything. I mean, I haven't heard this. It's funny, when you think about when you think about different religions.
Well, they are anti something. Just don't stomp on our rights, right?
Well, but I'm saying,
there shouldn't be exceptions for some and not some, for others.
Right, but I'm saying, I mean, you hear so much, there's with most religions, you hear so much negativity, and I literally haven't heard heard any negativity at all.
Yeah.
Okay, so and I want to keep this going. Please tell me during SatanCon that unlike Comic-Con and My Little Bronies and stuff, there's not people dressed up like goofy costumes, right? Please tell me that's not a thing.
Of course there is.
You get all
gotta have
types,
fun,
and,
man. You gotta have fun.
I would
Get
say
all
most
types.
people. Yeah,
I don't yuck
there's-
anyone's yum. Like, as long as their nips and their genitals are covered, like, people are free to express themselves how they want in the public square. And sometimes, you're gonna come in costume. But aren't we all in costume when it comes down to it? How we want to present ourselves to the world.
I would
Nips
say
and
most
genitals,
people-
so you can wear chaps.
No,
right?
that's actually the name of my third album. So Nips and Genitals. But yeah, you know what? No, that's true, because there are times like I tell these guys, like, I went on vacation. We went to Costa Rica, and I was no shirt guy for 1 full week, 7 days. I wore a shirt for 1 hour.
You were that guy?
I wore a shirt for 1 hour. Yeah, and I felt so good about that. I really did. I really felt so good. All right. So during Comic-Con, you guys have a. I think on Saturday night, SatanCon. I'm sorry. During SatanCon, you guys have a satanic ball. I see the thing. It said semi-formal. What does semi-formal mean on a satanic ball? And does it get funky?
You have to go there to find out. You have to go there to find out. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like all of these questions would be greatly answered if you just, bought a
person,
ticket and came. Like, experience it for yourself, because anything I could do to describe the majesty and amazingness of a bunch of Satanists, like, dressed to the nines, all coming together to celebrate. I mean, you just got to see it. You got to see it to believe it.
Road trip.
Yeah.
I just have a general question. So, and this might have been answered before, so I apologize. So, what's the biggest misconception about your organization? If you probably didn't answer it, so I apologize if I'm being redundant.
That we're an activist group.
Okay.
And then or if you're on the Christian right, that we're sacrificing babies and drinking blood.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the funniest part about it, right? Because that's what they're. I mean, as soon as you go on to a show, or as soon as you guys are portrayed by a certain group in the media, that's the first thing they're going to want to do, right? They throw up some ridiculous headlines, and then they make wild accusations. Because I remember their head guy Lucien Graves was on with Tucker Carlson, and Lucien's doing a great job of just putting Tucker in his place, and Tucker immediately has to say, "Well, you had a terrible childhood. That's why you're a Satanist. You had a terrible childhood." And he goes, "No, I had a great childhood." He goes, "No, you didn't. You had a terrible childhood." And I laugh at that, because he seems. I was listening. I'm watching this, and I'm thinking he's saying all these fantastic things, and Tucker's trying to come up with all these crazy things to make it sound like
he's crazy.
Yeah, like he's not a completely rational person.
Right.
Who is open to pretty much everything. Yeah. And let me ask you this before we let you guys go. How did you guys get involved in this?
Well, I'm sorry.
Oh, you can go first.
So for me, I was already dabbling in Satanism before the Satanic Temple existed, but I didn't like any of the existing organizations. I had problems with some of their interpretations of things. For example, the Church of Satan has some views on women, which may have been radical in the 60s, but now are outdated. Or
is that Anton LaVey's thing?
That's correct.
Yeah.
But then the Satanic Temple came along around 2013, and I kind of was aware of them. But then in 2015, in July, they had this big event in Detroit called the Unveiling, where they unveiled the Big Baphomet statue for the first time. So after that, I kind of really paid attention. It was like 2 weeks after that I joined. And since then, I founded a congregation. I've served in multiple leadership positions from local through international levels. I'm doing this now. Both Chalice and I are on the Ordination Council, which oversees our religious development and the ordination of ministers. Chalice has been involved even longer than me. I'll let her tell that story, though.
So I became involved with the Satanic Temple in 2014. Similar to Dex, I was very aware of Satanism prior to the Satanic Temple, but I didn't consider myself a Satanist at the time because, as prior to the creation of the Satanic Temple, Satanism was, generally speaking, just seen as whatever the Luciferians defined it as, or the Church of Satan defined it as. And even though there's some great things to be gleaned from the Church of Satan's philosophy, Anton LaVey's philosophy, a lot of it didn't really jive well with me. So I just considered myself an atheist for a really long time. But then the Satanic Temple came along. I first became aware of them via, the Pink Mass, and then of course the Baphomet statue. And what they were doing with religious reproductive rights, and it got me really interested in what they were doing. And then reading the tenets and seeing how Satanism had the ability to evolve in thought and how it's practiced, that's when I realized, oh, okay, this makes sense to me. And that's when I instantly was like, yep, no, I am a Satanist. This is what I am. And so I've been involved since 2014. I've done a lot of various things in the organization since then. Founded a chapter in Utah. I was the director of the After School Satan Club. I've been on, national, international councils. I've worked with the Gray Faction campaign. What else have I done? Yeah, Ordination Council, first woman to be ordained as a minister of Satan. I don't know, doing stuff with the religious reproductive rights. Yeah, I've done a whole swath of things, and half the shit
awesome.
I'm probably forgetting. But
The director of programming for SatanCon. You forgot that one.
oh yeah, no, I help with SatanCon too. That's right.
Do you have any satellite? Say I'm just using the term churches loosely. Do you have any satellite
Congregations?
Yeah, congregations internationally.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
We have congregations in Canada, Finland, the UK. There's one coming up in Ireland, one coming up in France.
Okay.
There's one in Germany.
Australia.
There's one Australia. There's one covering Belgium, Netherlands, and Luxembourg, which we call Benelux. And there's some that are trying to start in Latin America, from what I understand. We tried to have someone tried to start one in the Philippines, but I think it petered out because it's not terribly safe there for.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yes.
Well, they don't have any money there. Imelda Marcos has it all. They have it all. Okay,
It's tied up in shoes.
So let me do this. You guys, next year, come to Chicago. I know you have a chapter in Illinois. Okay, come to Chicago, and we are part of that. Yeah, absolutely, we are part of that.
Where in Illinois? Where's a chapter in Illinois? Do you know off the top of your head?
So they don't meet. They don't have central locations unless it's like city specific. So like I'm in Albany, New York, and we have our own Albany It's one of the oldest ones, and we don't generally build city specific ones anymore. So the Illinois one would cover the whole state, and they probably have like regional divisions that meet in different areas, and then probably monthly online meetings. That's generally how the statewide ones operate.
Okay.
Yeah, but y'all have y'all have a great group of people there and based in Chicago. So.
Yeah, I was pretty stoked. We actually had for the first time in a couple years, the Satanists you guys had a for Christmas down at the state capitol. You guys had a display for that. And here's the weird part. I noticed that the guy in charge who did it, he only put his first name out because afraid of repercussions if somebody found out his first and his last name.
We get death threats. Yeah, I've actually had a gunman show up at my house. Yeah. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
What?
Yeah. And like that arson attack did around $35,000 worth of damage to our historic building. It's not like it was like an attempted arson. It was and there were people in the building.
I was going to say, yeah.
So I'm assuming the FBI would get involved if there's like a hate there, because obviously we hear about hate crimes all the time, and it's sad to hear. But I'm assuming you were afforded the same protections under the law as other religious organizations. Let me ask you this: Are you guys tax exempt, like say the Catholic Church? I'm serious.
Yes,
Ted's a money man.
IRS.
Okay.
Okay. We're recognized by that.
Okay.
And confirmed as such by a federal circuit court.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay, well, we're not coming. We're not. All the people that listen to our show, they're not going to come after you.
Well, I mean, you got to keep this in mind too. Like throughout human history, if you look at human history, the two emotions that guide humans the most: fear and greed. And see, right now they fear you because they don't understand you, right? And that's why you have these loose, these people wandering off the reservation trying to possibly do you harm because their mind can't comprehend what you're trying to do, right? I mean, they have this ethos or belief system their whole life, and you're challenging that belief system, and their mind just it shuts down, right? So there's fear and there's greed, and that's it. So unfortunately,
that's what we're working on. So our show, we're not making a ton of dough, but we're full of fear. Yeah, I fear that we'll never make a ton of dough.
A ton of dough.
All right, so Dex, Chalice, thank you so much for being on.
Guys.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Like I said, I've been stoked about doing this and kind of hearing this and just such a different concept of what you guys do compared to like a lot of what we hear. So just thanks so much. Good luck with SatanCon, and bring it to Chicago, and I am there. Absolutely there. Yeah. Thanks so much.
For sure.
Absolutely.
Thanks for having us.
So much for having us. Yeah.
Thanks,
It's nice
guys.
to be able to talk about ourselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I hear it. I hear
appreciate
it.
it. We appreciate your time.
Thanks, guys. All right,
you.
and good luck.
Enjoy the rest of
All
your
right,
week.
Take care.
Thank you.
Dude, you cannot tell me that a single person who is listening to this show expected to hear that. Not a single person.
No, and
I learned a lot.
I love the clarification. One thing, that documentary came out in 2019 or something like that. It's called Hail Satan.
Damn, I wish I would have seen
I recommend everybody see it. It's incredible. It really is. It goes into depth. It tells you everything you want to know. What it kind of does, though, is it does mislead you to think that they're more of an activist group than anything, and they're not. So the documentary focuses on a lot of their protests and a lot of their activism because, that's kind of like entertaining and that sells. The other stuff to most people is probably less interesting. But they do dab on that. But the documentary, Hail Satan, is really well put together.
And that's a Netflix thing?
It's anywhere. You can get it on YouTube. You can. It is. I believe it's on Netflix. I'm pretty sure that's where I saw it back in like 2020.
Yeah. So and when they have this SatanCon thing in Boston, there's going to be a core group of people standing outside protesting.
Yeah.
Because they're outraged.
Right. And they're not even going to pay attention to the fact that it's like, hey man, we're open to everybody. Yeah. Everything's cool. We don't judge.
Well, it's kind of funny. Those are the people who are judging them harshly are probably the people who say behind closed doors, we don't judge anybody and we welcome everybody. We're all inclusive, except when it comes to you.
Except them. Yeah, we love everybody.
What was the movie? Was it Caddyshack? He goes, you want to come to our mass? He goes, are you Catholic? He goes, no. He goes, you can't. You can't come.
It's like it's mostly. I mean, it is Christian. It's mostly Catholics in Boston.
Oh hell yeah!
And they're the ones judging the most. And the best comeback for them is like, hey man, I'm a minister in the Church of Satan. We've never molested any kids.
Never.
We've never been accused of this. We've never done this, let alone been accused of it.
And we don't exclude anybody. We don't exclude people.
Right, exactly.
So
we don't judge.
Yeah. Here's what you do. When you go home tonight and you put your whatever in whatever, or your nips and genitals, right? You do whatever you want with them. We're not judging that. We have no. I don't care. I have no interest whatsoever in that. And again, this is that same thing. Like this doesn't make sense to me. The religions. It should be one thing. Are you a good person?
Yeah.
Are you making quality? Are you helping people? Are you making quality life decisions? Yeah. Not look over there and tell me who you hate. And which people over there are doing it wrong?
Do you actually need to be told by a book that was written thousands of years ago to be a good person? I mean,
clearly, yes.
I mean, are you going to like club a baby seal if you haven't been specifically told not to?
Yeah.
Or
no, I mean, no.
Wait, we're not doing. I mean,
yeah, you know what I mean.
Ted, some things I do as a hobby.
It's common sense.
Clubbing baby seals. I mean, you're not going to club a full size seal. They can get away.
Talk about the beanie bags.
But I think a big thing of what they stand for is, they are a church. They started as a church. They got involved because they weren't getting the same rights as other churches.
Yeah,
or like in the documentary, for instance, they'll put up like a statue of the Ten Commandments, right, on the front steps of like a state capitol.
Yeah,
they're like, you can't do that. Well, if you're going to do that, then we're going to do this. and then they actually accomplish their goal, and they're like, yeah, okay, it's unconstitutional.
Well, yeah, they got that. They got the religious freedom. They're suing Texas.
Yeah.
I think they did that. There was a few years ago. I don't remember what state, but there was like whatever state capital. There was like the 10 Commandments posted in front of like the federal building,
Mississippi, Alabama.
and they had to take
pick
it
one.
down. They had to take it down because blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But
So
but,
pick one. And then that was
They
followed
should
up by
have
the
to take it
that was
down.
followed up by the Confederate flag.
Yeah.
And the 10 Commandments, right? And none of those commandments are like "Thou shalt not kill," unless it's one of those people,
Well,
Right.
right?
Well, George
That's
Carlin,
their attitude,
George Carlin, the comedian, who was a man ahead of his time, by the way. He said, there's 10. He was talking about religion, the 10 Commandments, and he goes, but everything's negotiable. It's negotiable. it just depends on the circumstances. Thou shalt not do this, but there's exceptions, of course, where you should do that and it's justified and blah blah blah. So because like Chalice was saying, men make laws. Men are flawed. Sometimes the laws are flawed.
Women make laws too.
Women make laws. I'm just using that term loosely, but people
man.
make laws and people are flawed. So the laws that come from people.
If you
are
want to see
flawed.
something, go take a look at a state legislature, any state legislature, and go look at how many women there are compared to men.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like 20 to 1. Maybe 30 to 1 in most places.
It's getting better
and
now.
And it's worse.
It's getting
some
better. Hey, speaking of which, we have elections coming up tomorrow. You don't. We do.
Yeah.
Ted and I do.
Yeah. Well, I don't vote. Ted's not voting either.
Well,
I
heard.
already voted.
I heard the current mayor of Chicago is probably not going to be the current mayor anymore. And if it does go to a runoff, it's going to be definitely a new mayor, whoever it might be. But it's definitely not going to be.
She
the
might
current
not
one.
make the
She's
runoff.
not going to. She might not make the
But
runoff.
here's the bullshit, right? And this is probably any big city. If you live in a big city, you get the same thing. So the mayor runs off. There's 8 people running, and they all say the exact same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, they're going to be tough on crime. Yeah.
And they have a plan. They have a plan.
Yeah, they have a
comprehensive plan. Yeah.
comprehensive plan
Yeah.
to be tough on crime. Then they're going to lower your taxes. If at the end of any 4 years, if your taxes are lower, you should have a goddamn party, okay? And I'm talking about like a Satan Con end of the world party because it never is.
Why would taxes ever? Why would everything else go up but taxes go down?
Because they won't cut spending.
No,
they won't cut spending.
No,
Well,
I mean they have the same thing. We're gonna be tough on crime, and we're gonna help people, right?
Yeah,
No,
help people. Yeah.
they're not gonna help anybody.
Yeah.
They're not. They're gonna help
Or
themselves.
they're gonna help somebody. They're gonna help themselves.
Yeah.
Well, exactly. Well, what's that one country song? New boss, same as the old boss. Oh yeah. So there's 8 talking heads. You're going to elect one of the talking heads who sounds the best, who has the best sound bites, and that person, once they get in office, they're going to do the same old thing. They're going to slow walk it, blah, blah, blah. They might do a couple of things here and there. There's going to be a lot of thoughts and prayers. There's going to be a lot of outrage. But at the end of the day, your taxes are going to go up. Crime's probably going to be about the same because, you can get tough on
comprehensive.
Here's the thing. You can get tough on crime, but the way they're going to do it doesn't actually work. So, I told you what works, but no one's going to do it because you got to have the will to do it, and we don't have the will to do it. So therefore,
just cutting off body parts. That is your philosophy. Cutting off body parts.
Well, just the ones who deserve it, but not just
I have to
anybody.
admit, if you get convicted of rape, and I know this is going to sound weird,
Not
they
again.
if they just cut off your dick, then you can never rape again.
Yeah.
And you have no will to live, but I mean,
if there's a guy they talk about this all the time. There's people in New York. There's these obviously maybe they're mentally ill, maybe they're not. Grown man who's got 30 prior felony convictions, walking around on the street. He's out on a no cash bail, assaults somebody for no reason. They're let's say they lock him up. You know what they do? He's gonna get free food, free shelter. When he gets out, he'll just be a better criminal. Now, if you take that same person and you start cutting stuff off, seriously.
Oh my God!
We'll start with your
stuff. Hold on.
Your right arm.
So how about this?
Your left hand.
We're going backwards.
your left foot.
No. So how about this? So he gets stuff cut off. He spins a wheel.
Yeah.
It goes around, and it's what gets cut off.
Well, no, it's like the movie.
And he's in charge, right?
What's Beyond Thunderdome? You get to spin the wheel, and whatever it lands on, that's your punishment.
Yeah, that's what you get cut off.
And all the options are bad.
Yeah.
It's bad
Wait a
to
minute,
worse.
that was the future, wasn't it?
That was the
Yeah,
future.
and
yeah.
I mean, when you go to spin it, and the guy looks up and he goes, "Wait, why are balls the biggest part of this? Shouldn't they all be equal?
Every other
balls
one
is
is balls.
half. Yeah, balls is half,
Here's-
and every other part of your body is just in the other half."
Here's my comprehensive plan against crime. It's really simple. The bad guy is going to still be the bad guy. The bad guy only understands one thing: when there's something happens directly to him or her, that's what they understand.
You can't run on that. Trump's running on that.
No, Trump.
Yes,
no.
he is. He's running on
Just saying.
He's running on. Okay.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
No, he's running on insanity.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just running on mumbling.
That's one of the things he's running on.
Yeah.
He wants to bring back corporal punishment. Like public shootings and stonings and stuff like that.
Some
said
guy on death row. He just died of natural causes because he's been on death row for 40 years. He committed a horrific crime back in the. We forget about it. We only care about what happened now. But this guy's been on death row for 40 years. Taxpayers took care of this guy. They paid for his medical attention, and he died peacefully in the prison hospital. Without ever having to face the music. And like I said,
so here,
justice delayed is justice denied.
I'll tell you a funny story.
It ain't rocket science.
So there's some woman on TV. She's some kind of Real Housewives or whatever, and she went ahead and she did some kind of fraud where her and her friend were just calling up old people. They got a list of old people.
I think
and they were scamming them out of money.
Heard about that,
right?
Yeah.
And now she's going to what do you call it? Minimum security prison.
Yeah, Club Fed.
Yeah.
Fed. That's not punishment. That's
right.
She's just going to be relaxing for a little bit. I mean, yeah, it'll be a little bit disconcerting because she doesn't have her lifestyle that she has. But I mean, she's not going to be tortured anyway. She's going to have shelter. She's going to have 3 meals a day. She'll probably get some cush job. She'll serve like 5 years or whatever her sentence is, and she'll get out and she'll say, I reflect on what I did and I'm sorry. But she's only sorry she got caught. Yeah, that's all she's sorry about.
Here's the funny part. So wherever prison she's going to, now Elizabeth Holmes from
Theranos.
Yeah,
the blood,
right?
That scam artist.
If she goes to prison, she would be in the same prison with this woman, right? Yeah. And I don't see why they get minimum security when she scammed people out of millions of dollars. But did you see Elizabeth Holmes? She is pregnant. She got pregnant, and now she said that
she probably got pregnant on purpose.
Well, she shouldn't.
She's in prison.
No, she's not.
She has to be sentenced,
she said. She should not go to prison because she's pregnant. And here's the weirdest thing. A woman, a random woman convicted of drug crimes just delivered a baby in prison.
Yeah.
And that woman wants out because she said her baby shouldn't have to be in prison with her.
This is interesting.
So her and the baby should come
it won't
out.
be. It'll be put up for adoption and she'll still serve her sentence.
How is this going to pay out? Yeah, how's this going to play out?
That's how it works. Well, there's been cases like that.
But imagine, hold on.
They give the baby up?
Yeah, I think that either the relative watches or they give it up for. I don't know how it works, to be quite honest with you. But obviously, they're not going to have the baby in prison with her.
Well, they might be married.
But think about the ridiculousness of a millionaire woman, a millionaire white chick, who gets pregnant,
former billionaire,
and then somebody says, "Oh, you know what? No, she's having a baby. We can't send her to prison. No." But then anybody else just goes to prison. They don't give a shit. You're pregnant. You do whatever. You just go to prison. Have the baby in prison. We don't care. But she
gets all the
Elizabeth
attention
Holmes
and
is
sympathy,
really she's really special.
Because
she's wealthy.
She's not special.
She's wealthy.
Well, she's a sociopath, is what she is. She just got caught. She had an elaborate scheme. She obviously defrauded a lot of people, especially angel investors, because she's slick. But she got caught at the end. So, but like I said, even whatever happens, let's say she serves 10 years on her best day. She'll still get out. She'll still be in good shape. She's not going to be tortured in prison. She'll be in minimum security. I'm sure she'll keep saying I didn't do it, and blah blah blah, and
it was an accident. I didn't mean it.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, whatever.
But you want to hear something funny? So
in China they actually execute CEOs for embezzlement, so you don't have to commit an actual murder. I'm not saying that should happen to her, but I'm just saying like in other countries in China they will execute you. If you're an embezzler from if you embezzle millions of dollars and you're the CEO, they'll execute you.
But that's the difference between us and them.
Drug smuggling, they'll execute
rich people.
Malaysia.
Well, communism and
Yeah,
democracy.
but I mean, here. So they talked. A guy talked about this, and I had to look it up. Like, what is Club Fed? Is it really like what it says? Right. So this guy, he went to prison. He went to minimum security prison. Right. He said there's about 100 guys serving this in this prison camp. Right. No harassment, nothing. Everybody was just kind of cool because if you did anything, you might have to go to real prison.
Yeah,
right.
Like your privileges. Yeah, your privilege. Yeah.
So he said he got himself a prison job in the library. Right. He passed his days. He caught up. This is a guy who stole millions of dollars from his customers. Did not have to pay it back because he allegedly it was all gone.
Yeah.
Right.
Sounds like Brooks.
He serves his time. He says he caught up on reading. Okay. He didn't really read it all in college because he was too busy with work.
Did he have a pet crow?
He did. So he said he read about 30 great books, lost 25 pounds, came out of prison at his college weight. When he got out, his wife says he looks better than he has in years.
There you go.
And he said, and this is what he said. Yeah. He said his time in minimum security probably added 10 years to his life.
Yeah, so that's great. That has the opposite effect.
Well,
you know,
he
so.
served his time. I mean, what the fuck? Do you want him to go to prison forever?
No, I want him to go to real prison. I want him to go to the same
they
prison.
Well, I mean, you know,
They should have taken all his assets.
the crime.
Obviously, number
I mean,
one.
the punishment should fit the crime.
Well, when you ruin
I mean,
somebody's
not
life,
everybody. Well,
when you ruin somebody's life.
Hold on a second. If he takes, let's do this. Who is the hedge fund guy who stole hundreds of millions of dollars from people?
Oh, Madoff.
Yeah, Madoff.
Yeah.
Okay, so he fucked up people's lives. There's probably people who are dead
Who
killed
themselves?
themselves,
They killed
themselves,
themselves,
or families just got into whatever, and a daughter, a son got into all this stuff.
Yeah.
Why shouldn't he go to?
Yeah.
Why shouldn't he go to murder prison?
Yeah.
Because
Well,
ultimately he
maybe
probably
he
had
should.
more of an
I don't
effect.
know. I'm not.
Yeah.
Who am I? I'm
He
not a
had more
judge.
of an effect.
Well, here's a rhetorical
than
yeah.
somebody who just walked into a
Yeah.
room and shot 10 people.
Yeah, I don't want to go. I don't want to get into detail because it's going to go a long time. But just here's a rhetorical question. If I came up to you with a gun and a pantyhose mask and I pistol whipped you and took $20 out of your took $20 from you.
If you could beat me up,
Well,
I would.
I'd have accomplices, of course. But anyway, so listen, let's just say I took $20 from you in your credit cards and whatever, or I somehow would manage to drain all your bank accounts and you were completely desolate. You had nothing. You had no savings. You had no college fund for your kids. What do you think is worse? I mean, I'd rather take the ass whipping and losing a few dollars out of my pocket than my whole life savings, because that's actually more devastating to
that's
people.
what I'm
Especially if
saying.
you're older, you're not going to get a job.
Yeah.
No,
you're not going to get a job when you're 65,
but
70.
But here, they are going to prison.
But it's not the right prison.
They go okay.
It's
Well,
not the
who
right
am I to
prison.
judge? And so they're going to prison and they're coming out a better person. That seems like the way it should work. I mean, prison is prison. I don't give a fuck where you're at. You still lose. You're losing your. I mean, I know guys that were in prison, and they came out and they looked a lot better than they did when
Yeah.
they went in.
Yeah, of course.
And I mean, you
probably can't overeat in prison.
Well, it's
It's
like
probably
you're-
not
Well,
possible.
no, what I'm saying is they came out, and they legitimately came out better people than when they went in. Now, I know that's and it's not the minority, but I mean, they did go to like one of those types of prisons, okay? But, at the end of the day, they were like 3,000 miles away from their family, kids and everything for 6-7 years. So it was jail.
And so
they were being
where's
punished.
the bad part?
I
I
agree.
wasn't able to
It's-
have relations with
it's-
my wife for 7 years.
No,
it's
they
just
did
a
have
tough-
conjugal visits.
yeah.
though.
And
They
then
do
just
have Ted. They
Yeah.
have conjugal visits.
Ted Bundy had a kid
What?
in prison.
They're
Ted,
able to have
Bundy,
sex.
one of the worst serial killers of all time. He had a kid while he
he wasn't granted conjugal visits.
he was
Ted Bundy.
Ted
No.
Bundy. Yeah, he had a
Come
kid. He had a daughter while he was in prison in
Ted,
Florida.
you're the guy who thought that Ted Kennedy
I
was a
did.
bootlegger.
Oh, yeah.
Joe Kennedy.
Joe
on. No,
Kennedy
but
was
that's
a bootlegger.
Not, a
I
lot
know-
of people thought that.
Google it.
Yeah.
Man.
Oh no.
That's a big.
Yeah.
Ted was right. I mean, he's not wrong. I mean,
No,
but a
no.
lot
We
of people
sat
think that.
we sat at the bar yesterday with
Yeah.
a guy who absolutely convinced that,
Yeah.
that Joe Kennedy was a
Yeah.
bootlegger.
Well, I mean, he was doing some whatever. If he wasn't a bootlegger, he definitely did some unseemly shit to get his family fortune.
wait,
I'll
no,
put
we
it to you
found
that
Are
way.
you
out
saying? Are you saying that some woman who, after everything that happened with Ted Bundy, had sex with him and reproduced, and there is a little Ted Bundy out
You
there
remember, I
somewhere?
get my Teds
Listen,
mixed up. Which
John,
one was
John,
he?
John Wayne Gacy.
He's not the one on
John,
the show.
John Wayne
Okay.
Gacy got married in prison. All these serial killers, if they're allowed
to
to
a
write,
dude?
all these serial killers,
John-
they got
John
groupies.
Gacy-
They
John
got groupies.
Gacy got married. He did
To a
get
John
chick.
Gacy, to a woman. Maybe not the best woman,
But
but
they
she,
didn't get married in prison. It was like
in prison. No, he was already
He
in
was
prison.
in prison.
He was
She
in
was
prison.
out,
Yeah, obviously not. Yeah, so I'm just saying Ted Bundy was convicted on death row. I mean, or I don't know if it was. Yeah, I think he was death row. And this woman who obviously was enamored with him visited him, and obviously they were allowed
What,
private time together.
She was all excited about all the kids he killed?
No, I'm just saying there's
What the
dude.
fuck?
I'm just saying
It's
there's
a thing.
there's
It
women
happens
out
a
there.
lot.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker.
Yeah,
there's
it
plenty of
happens a lot.
cases where they got groupies. They got people. They got they get fan mail. In fact, a guy who just got arrested just recently. He's got people writing him in prison already. you
Yeah,
know,
no,
saying,
it's a thing. It's yeah.
Is this why people who say crazy shit, like, is this why social media is so big? Because the stupider shit you say, there's always got to be a certain amount of people that are going to believe
stupider
it.
shit.
stupider.
It's stupider shit than the other guy who said, stupid shit yesterday. It's just slightly stupider. I cannot believe that people would. Oh man, you know what? You know what the problem is? Medical science has helped too many people. Too many people continue on with their
Live too long.
really weird
Yeah.
lives.
Well,
Yeah.
it's like when you invite a guest to your house and you expect them to stay for 2 hours and they stay for 2 years. That's what it's like sometimes in the real world. You just want them to leave.
So it's like this show.
Yeah.
It's like this show when you
okay.
won't leave.
Yeah,
Are we done with
exactly.
prison talk? That was prison talk with Matt, Mark, and Mike.
we have an episode of Prison Talk exactly.
I don't want to do prison talk. That'd be the.
It's like coffee talk.
You know what though?
I just called Ted Mike.
Matt, Mark, and Mike, and Ted.
I just called you Maurice.
Maurice. All right. You know what? Let's just. Man, I cannot believe
We
this.
could talk about prisons, but we can't do chess talk.
We can't do chess talk.
No, there's no chess.
ridiculous,
That was. The
Oh, and
worst
by
thing
the
of
way,
all.
okay, I'm gonna tell you something. So that whole ordeal with me thinking the computer cheated me, I was wrong.
Wait, you were wrong.
It's a
No.
legal move. It's called impasse.
Unobtainium.
It's a legal move to where if you move your pawn 2 spaces to kill another piece, that piece can kill you as if you only moved 1 space.
I thought you could only move upon 1 space at a time.
No, your first move you can go.
Oh,
2.
that's right, 2. That's right.
So
that's right.
if you make your first move and you're going to take another, if you're going to take somebody's rook or whatever, or another pawn or whatever, it could actually take you. It's called impasse. I looked it up.
Oh, I'm sorry. I you know what? I got up.
He
and
fell asleep. Yeah,
No. I
gone.
got up and I
You
was looking
missed
for
it.
a
All
knife.
right, we were just
I was
castling
looking
with
for a
Mark
knife
and
so I
Ted.
could stab myself
you
to
sank
death.
my battleship.
Yeah, I'd much rather do that than that. Okay, so let's put this thing to bed. Oh man, and I'm so glad. I'm so happy. As soon as I found out about the Satanic Temple, I was just like, man, this is the coolest thing. But let's put this thing to bed. Teddy, I'll let you go first. Last thoughts.
I learned a lot today via our guests, so I appreciate you bringing them on to share with our audience out there, our growing audience, by the way.
Oh yeah, growing by leaps and bounds. Just real quick, up 22% in the last 30 days.
Well,
our
why not?
listenership.
We're better than everybody. Why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't we be?
22%. Is that fucking crazy? Dude, that's pretty big, man. I mean, who goes up in a month? Who goes up that much? I mean, not me. My brain cells going down. All right, Marquise.
Final
Last
thoughts. If Matt offers to send you somewhere on assignment, all paid expense assignment, don't go.
Because it means it's a one-way ticket. I'm not coming back.
Well, it was a one-way ticket.
One-way ticket to heavy.
Oh my God, dude!
Heavy metal.
Never allow Matt
Yeah. No,
to offer. Yeah, if it's too good to be true, it probably is.
no, it absolutely is.
Yeah.
Everything
you.
that's too good to be true. Is,
Bigfoot does not exist.
Like buying a veterinary putter at Costco. Too good to be true.
no, it's real. That's a real thing. That you can actually
For
have.
$400.
No, I will say this with in line with the show with our guests from the Satanic Temple. Don't judge a book by its cover, and don't overreact to something that sounds crazy until you just spend like 5 minutes. They're a little bit different because it's called the Satanic Temple, so you can get the wrong impression right away, and everybody does.
But the funny thing, if they had a more like less
Yes.
I don't want to use the word. I don't want to use the word offensive. That's the wrong word. It's just a less. That word, it's kind of like it's such a negative connotation.
Yep.
If they just had a different
Ted, if
name,
they named themselves the headphones,
but with the same
anything.
philosophy,
Yeah.
they probably wouldn't have half the issues they have. I mean, I'm not saying it's their fault, of course.
No. But like
yeah.
she said, we could, but we don't want to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That I mean, it's called the Satanic Temple for a reason. But I'm just saying it has all these negative connotations associated with it. Watch the documentary or just go on their site and learn a little bit about them. They're not devil worshiping fools.
No,
They're just like
Yeah.
they're more. I would describe them more as like religious outcasts that don't like Christianity for many reasons and don't have anywhere else to go. So they're doing
they're
this.
just offering an alternative solution,
Right.
and in fact, I just asked them. I said, I noticed you never use the term devil, and they
Yeah,
don't. There's no term.
you're
The
right.
devil and the Satan are not synonymous with each other,
Right.
obviously.
Well,
so.
see, and that's why I asked that. That was one of the reasons I asked. Like, where's your negativity? Like, how come you don't have a jihad, or how come you don't exclude
Right.
these kind of people that like to go home and
Yeah.
do this to each other? It's one of those things where so I look at when I found these guys, I'm looking at this and I found those 7 tenets, right? And every one of them is positive.
Yeah.
Everything that they
sensible
do,
too. I mean,
super sensible,
yeah.
right? Like, just let people be people.
Yeah.
Stop. You know what? You know what you're not in charge of? Anybody but you, man.
Yeah.
You're not in charge of anybody but you. If a guy wants to become a girl, so fucking what? How does that bother you? Okay? If somebody wants to be called they, them, or somebody wants to do this or that, listen, how does that bother you, man?
Yeah.
Just listen. Be happy, shake hands, enjoy everybody, laugh and have fun. But just don't get yourself caught up in that negativity.
Well, just live the best life you can live, because you're only in charge of yourself, and have friends and everything. But yeah, try not to worry about what anybody else is doing. If it's not affecting you and they're not harming anybody and they're doing it legally.
Yeah, because they're not.
It's not your concern.
Yeah,
somebody said to them,
concern.
if you guys don't worship Satan or worship a god and it's not religious in that way, then why not just call yourselves atheists? And the response was, atheism's boring.
Well, it's
this
what
is
you
a
don't.
lot. They're like, this is a lot more fun.
Yeah, but
we
what
have a lot
Shalice-
more stuff going on.
Yeah, what she said is atheism is something you don't believe in, right? And they believe in something, and the things that they believe in are just super positive. Yeah, is it weird that it's the word Satan is in there? Yeah, it is. And when I looked at it,
you got to educate people. So
Right.
Like
That's
I say,
that- and that's my final thought.
That's
Yeah.
instant negativity. So I mean, like I think like intelligent, rational people, when they have an opinion, but when they're presented with a certain set of facts, your opinion changes. And the people who don't change their opinion, no matter what you tell them, and say it's truthful, those are the people
They got
that
problems,
might have some issues.
And you know what? The great thing about, as much as I hate to say this, the great thing with the internet and technology existing and our smartphones existing is that you can easily, within a couple of minutes, learn everything about this organization.
Yeah.
Just by opening your phone or your computer.
Yeah.
And 30 or 40 years ago, it would take a lot of time and effort to find out all about them, and people wouldn't be willing to do that.
You'd have
There's
to
no
find
excuse,
a Satanist, right?
There's no excuse nowadays not to find minimum information, credible information about them, and then be like, oh, okay, yeah, they are kind of cool.
And
I was all wrong about them.
and you don't have to accept what you don't have to accept what they're believing. Just but at least you're educated about it, and be like, oh, now I know. I have more information now than because right now tonight I have more information about this organization than I did in my whole life put together.
Well, think about it.
Yeah.
I mean, she said she gets death threats. Shalice says, and you guys can't see her. She is an as absolute as regular person as far as just the way she wasn't set up with horns and any kind of crazy shit.
Yeah.
If you passed her up on the street, you wouldn't know what religion she is or if she was anything. Same with Dex.
The same way.
And,
Same way,
here's
right?
here's the funny thing. I'm sure whoever these people doing the death threats or the protests, I'm sure they consider themselves quote unquote good people.
Yeah, of course they
good
do.
people who are looking out for your best interest. You know?
Right.
Except when you go against their belief system, well then you got to go.
Right. and you think about that, and you think about who does that kind of stuff, and the people that do that, and then you take a look at a group like this. I'll bet you dime to a dollar, and maybe there's a crazy Satanist out there somewhere who would do that. But I haven't heard anything about a Satanist burning down a church.
Right.
I haven't a synagogue.
Right,
I haven't heard any of that stuff. Right. And I know numerically, Dex was right. That numerically you're on the ass end of that. But I mean, there's still crazy people. Crazy people don't give a shit about numerics.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
they're
just
they're not shooting up anywhere.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
They're just like, hey man, everything's cool. I'm cool. You be cool. Be a good person.
Well,
and move on.
Here's the funny thing: the best revenge is just living well. That's the best revenge. You don't have to show somebody up or hey, look at me.
No,
I'm better now than I was 10 years ago, and you could have had this, and now you don't. I mean, the best revenge is just like just live well. Don't worry about the rest.
Teddy,
and work on your
that's it.
And work on your golf.
That's
game
it.
Too.
We're done. I love that.
And Matt, your final thoughts?
My final thoughts.
That was my final thoughts. So
I'll give it to you. Everybody, this is what I want you to think about. What have you done to make yourself a healthier person today? What have you done to make yourself healthier? That's my final thought. Have a great week. Next week is the golf show, and we are going to tear Teddy's ass to Pete. No. We're gonna have a golf pro on, and he's gonna he's gonna see all our swings. He's gonna give us some tips. He's gonna help us out, and I guarantee, I'm making a personal guarantee that everyone will be a person after that show.
That's probably going to happen.
Yeah, that's probably going to happen. All right. Have a great one. Have a great week, and we'll see everybody next time.
Bye-bye.